A broken man is hired to protect a little girl he doesn't even want to know. He tells her flat out, "I'm not here to be your friend." But by the time this story ends, he will burn down half a city, execute a small army of kidnappers one by one, and trade his own life for hers. All because a 9-year-old refused to stop asking him questions. This is one of the most brutal revenge stories ever filmed, and it starts with a man who was already trying to die. In Mexico City, kidnappings are happening at a rate of nearly one every hour, and most victims never come home. A former CIA operative, burned out and drinking heavily, arrives to visit an old friend who now runs private security for wealthy families. His friend mentions a job. A businessman named Samuel needs a bodyguard for his young daughter, mostly so his insurance policy won't lapse. It's not really about safety, it's about appearances. At the interview, Samuel is impressed by the resume 16 years of military service, counterterrorism experience. But our guy is upfront about his drinking. He warns that if professionals come for the girl, he'll do what he can. If amateurs try it, he'll probably kill them. Samuel hires him anyway, on one condition: his wife can never know about the drinking. The daughter, Peta, is curious, chatty, and immediately fascinated by her new bodyguard. That first night, she tells her mother she likes him, that he reminds her of a sad teddy bear, and gives him a nickname that will follow him for the rest of the film: Creasy Bear. He, meanwhile, sits alone with a bottle and a gun, testing his own reflexes in the dark. Peta doesn't stop talking. Questions about his life, his job, the scars on his hands. He eventually snaps at her, coldly reminding her that he's paid to protect her, not to be her friend. She cries. He doesn't apologize. But something is already cracking underneath the surface, because that same night, alone in his room, he loads a single bullet into his gun and pulls the trigger against his own skull. It doesn't fire. He calls his friend in a panic, shaken, and starts to understand that maybe he wasn't supposed to die that night. He keeps the dud bullet in a matchbox, like a strange kind of promise to himself. Not long after, a suspicious car begins tailing them on the school run. PETA, sharp as ever, manages to scribble down part of the license plate before the car speeds off. Slowly, something shifts between them. He starts training her for an upcoming swim meet, teaching her not to fear the starting gun, but to use its sound as the thing that sets her free. He starts smiling, actually smiling, at her jokes. When her parents return from a trip, PETA is overjoyed, and their bond keeps deepening. She buys him a small gift with her own money, a necklace, and he tells her, genuinely, that he loves it. That night, for the first time, he chooses his Bible over his bottle. Then, on the way to a piano lesson, everything falls apart. While he waits outside with her dog, a police car blocks the road. The same car that had followed them before appears. He barely has time to scream for her to run and fire a warning shot before gunfire erupts. He takes down several attackers, including a corrupt police officer, but he's hit too. And by the time he collapses, the kidnappers have already grabbed PETA and disappeared into the city. He wakes up days later in a hospital bed, under arrest for killing 2 officers, and the first word out of his mouth is her name. The family is told the ransom demand, $10 million, delivered alone, no police. But the drop is ambushed by a second group who steal the money outright, and in the chaos, the kidnappers accuse the family of setting them up. Furious, and having lost one of their own men in the ambush, they make a phone call no parent should ever have to receive. PETA, they say, is dead. This is where the film stops being a thriller and becomes something else entirely: a methodical, merciless hunt. He disappears from the hospital before he's fully healed. He starts buying weapons, tracking down the owner of that license plate, and pulling on every thread. When he finds the man connected to the plate, he takes him somewhere remote and extracts every name, every location, every detail through brutal interrogation, then makes sure the man never talks again. Each name leads to the next: a nightclub bouncer nicknamed the Butcher, a room full of men connected to the operation, an ATM card funding the whole thing from a mysterious figure known only as the Voice. Along the way, he crosses paths with a journalist investigating a network of corrupt cops and officials shielding each other, a brotherhood that seems to reach all the way to the top of the anti-kidnapping unit itself. Piece by piece, the trail leads him to a lieutenant who turns out to be far more powerful, and far dirtier than anyone suspected. In a devastating confrontation, that lieutenant admits the ransom money was never fully delivered in the first place. Someone close to the family had already skimmed millions off the top before the exchange even happened. The trail turns inward. Financial records lead him to the family's own lawyer, found murdered before he can be questioned, and from his house, a fax machine spits out something no one was supposed to see: offshore banking records with Samuel's own name on them. In one of the film's most gutting scenes, he confronts Samuel directly. Under pressure, Samuel breaks completely and confesses. The kidnapping wasn't just an ambush by strangers. Samuel and the lawyer staged it themselves, planning to split the insurance payout, promising each other PETA would be perfectly safe the whole time, watching cartoons and eating ice cream for a couple of days before coming home unharmed. Nobody was supposed to die, but greed and betrayal spiraled far beyond anything they controlled, and it cost his daughter everything. Silently, he sets down his own weapon, hands Samuel the very bullet that once failed to kill him, and walks out. A single gunshot follows him down the hallway. Just when it seems like there's nothing left to find, a break in the case reveals the identity of the voice, the man truly behind the operation. And in a phone call that changes everything, that man makes an offer: trade his own life for PETA's, because, impossibly, she might still be alive. He agrees instantly. At the exchange, weak and bleeding from everything he's endured, he walks unarmed toward the kidnappers waiting on a bridge. PETA is released and comes sprinting into his arms one last time. He holds her, makes sure she's safe, and gently sends her running toward her mother. As she looks back, asking where he's going, he simply tells her he's going home too. Then he lets the kidnappers take him. In the car, dying from his wounds, he holds the little necklace she once gave him. Elsewhere, the man behind it all is finally hunted down and killed. The war is over, but it never needed to be a war he could walk away from. Only one he could make sure she survived.